Hi, this is Callie. This is basically just a giant editing note at the moment. I don't know what happened to my intro, so I'm going to introduce this project and briefly go over like what this is about because I don't think I can just jump in at the patterning. That just felt really awkward. I did try to edit it that way though, and I just didn't like the vibe. So here I am in my full skincare at 11 p.m. at night. So this project, let me grab my sketchbook, is this event here in Salt Lake City called Frocktails. And it's put on by a local shop that I adore called the Salt Lake Society. Small business. They absolutely deserve 200% support. The owner's awesome, does awesome classes, all of that. I could talk about it day and night. But this Frocktails event is kind of like a charity thing, and it's mentioned for it to be an event amongst fiber artists, right? So that like includes anyone that like sews, does like knitting, and there's lots of fiber arts, right? So I really wanted to make something that was like original and unique to me, and that was designed by me and patterned by me and all of that. So that's kind of what this was. So these were my original sketches. This is like really embarrassing to show. These were kind of what I was originally thinking. I wanted to do something that layered over one shoulder. I don't know. I just guess I had a thing for that at the moment. Like I had kind of narrowed it. Where's my camera? I had narrowed it down to these, and I did ditch the bow in the back idea. But I got through like a lot of iterations and kind of determined that this was what I wanted to do. So I made the pattern in Clo 3D. If you're not familiar with it, it is a 3D design tool. I am in love with it. I love it so much. I hope to make patterns for other people too at some point in the future. But I still have a lot to learn. Yeah, let's get started. That feels weird to say after finishing the project. Okay, I have all my pattern pieces here. More lights. So I am going to get started in projecting that and cutting out the pattern pieces onto muslin so I could see if my idea works or not. This is like the most nerve-wracking part. Oh my god, guys, it fits perfect! I'm super happy with this. Tomorrow, as you can see, it keeps going whoop. I'm gonna have a lot of interfacing in the actual piece. I want it to just kind of like mysteriously float here. So there's actually gonna be a little piece of elastic that I want to play with, kind of like where my bra strap is. That kind of sits right there. I don't think I'm gonna change the length of the skirt. It's pretty short, but I like how short it is. I think it's really flattering length. I like it like right here, so I'm gonna see what I can do. I think interfacing and stuff will help too in the final product. Otherwise, I was just gonna hand stitch it in a couple spots, but I actually have perfect arm mobility. I know, I already just talked about it, but like, okay, once there's a little piece of elastic or something up here to keep it in place, I just want to connect it right up there. But like, I'm so happy with this. I feel so pretty in this silhouette, and I keep like, I don't know, I feel like most of the time, guys, I'm pretty disappointed in myself is a really good way to put it. I'm not somebody like, there's a lot of things I am very confident in, like in my 9 to 5 at work when I'm making websites, I'm like, I'm confident in this. But when it comes to sewing and like design type skills, I always feel very like disappointed in my own work. But I am genuinely really proud of this and how it came out. I don't know if I already filmed this, but this is the sketch it started from. I did ditch the bow, but I was trying to think of ideas for this event. I'm really, really proud of this. So once I pull out the cute pink butterfly fabric, it's about to be game over. I'm never taking it off, ever. To pattern it, I basically just, in my 3D modeling tool, I draped out the bodice and the skirt, and then I expanded the skirt to create the gathering effect. I also have A cups, mind you, so I don't really have to think about busts. If I was a bustier woman, this would probably be more work than it is. And then I literally just measured. I just went like this. Like across. I just measured that, and I added I think like 4 inches to it, so it was like 22 inches in total, and that measurement was 18 inches. So that I kept some wiggle room, hence why it keeps flumping down, because if it was tight, I wouldn't be able to move my arm, right? So in the mock-up, I had it sitting kind of, or in the 3D model, I have it sitting up there so that it doesn't fall down, but in reality, I want it sitting more like right there, so it's like floating. Okay, our next step is that I'm just going to modify the pattern. I'm only going to modify the skirt. I think everything else fit amazing. I might also just make the top just half an inch longer. Besides that though, it looked good. So we'll get started on that. Alright, all my fabric is cut out for both I'm gonna unplug this humming. Anyways, all my fabric is cut out for the outer shell and the lining and the more structured part. So I'm going to iron it all out before sewing. I'm gonna put like a presser cloth in between all of it too, because my iron can't keep its temperature at one level. Like, I will set it to the mid-level and it'll get so hot that it'll burn through things. So yeah, that's an upgrade that'll have to be made at some point, but not today. So I'm gonna do that and then we will start sewing things together. I like to start with the lining and then do the outer shell, so if I discover any hiccups in the lining, it doesn't end up on the outside with my nice fabric. I have enough leftover fabric too to make something cute for myself, so I'm super happy about that. I mean, right now I'm technically making something cute for myself, right? So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing. By the way, I am listening right now to The Discovery of Witches, and I am really, really enjoying this book. It is so good. It's like just kind of cool so far. I'm like an hour in, so I'll keep you guys updated throughout the vlog. Okay, let's start with this top piece. Okay, so the top of the lining is completed, which I think is honestly just the most brutal part of this whole thing. So everything else from here on out should be a little bit simpler. But what I did is I used the seam allowance. I serged the edge of each seam allowance, but I used that to actually make like boning channels, and then I pushed in the boning. I stitched up the edges of these just so the boning won't get out. Even though when I sewed the top and the bottom together, that should be cleaned up. So I'm going to serge the edges of this now, and then I'm just going to really quickly throw together the skirt, which is just sewing each piece together, and then I'm just going to serge the edges, the skirt of the lining, so nobody's going to see it. It's finally time to get started on the bodice, which means I'm going to be sewing each piece together. I think I'm gonna do the skirt too, because just basically the outer layer with this really pretty butterfly fabric. I'm gonna sew this layer together, and whenever an edge is joined, I'm gonna serge it. Serging after sewing though, because I want it to be actually durable. I would never just serge an edge and call it a day. So that's kind of what we'll be doing. Exactly what's done on the lining, basically, like literally the exact same pieces, but just the outer layer. And we're not doing anything fancy with the top yet, because there's that whole part that's gonna be like overlaid on top of everything. Okay, so next up is we're going to be working on the overlay part that goes on the top, this piece. So I'm going to be interfacing the inner piece with a really heavy interfacing, maybe even multiple layers. I actually just realized I didn't cut out the interfacing, but that's hopefully going to make it super stiff so it stays up. And the way it'll be sewn in is it's actually just going to be sewn in on the side seam, and then on the side seam, and then it'll stick up, hopefully. So I'm going to start that process. Okay, I decided I'm also going to interface the, I don't know if this is going to be the inside or outside yet, but look at how nice it sits. Well, you know, I need something to keep it up on my shoulder, obviously. Like, I'm gonna put a little piece of like elastic or something there, but like, it sits so nicely. Okay, so I just added bottom stitching to this, which is basically gonna keep this part from rolling up and over so you don't see the lining. So it keeps this part nice and smooth. So now I'm just gonna press that down. Okay, I feel like this is a really good learning moment, but my lining didn't match up with the outside of my dress because I didn't account for the cups and the size of them. So the dress just like a fabric got bunched up around there basically. I should have properly made them and I didn't. So it lines up starting here, right? But then here there's excess fabric. It's not the worst because when we put in the zipper, I'm just not gonna, I might just after putting in the zipper hand stitch the edge of this to the edge of the zipper just to kind of keep it in place, but we can still zip it up and down, you know what I mean? I am going to be sewing in that little like overlay part and then attaching the zipper. Okay, so I just took in the inside a little. So far, very cute. And you might say it looks done. What else could be left? It needs to be hemmed. And it also, this part, I don't know how it happened, but it turned out too loose for some reason. It did not do that in the mock-up, so I'm actually going to get some clear elastic straps and just sew them on. Here is the final dress. Oh, I just kicked the cat on accident. Hello, Klaus. So here it is. I am very happy with the way it turned out. There are a few things I would change and that probably could have been better, but this is the second piece I've ever actually like sketched, designed in Clo, like the 3D tool, and then like obviously patterned myself and then done this. So I'm gonna try not to be too hard on myself about it. But I really love this butterfly fabric. I thought butterflies were very fitting because it's like a cocktail meet and greet type networking party. I love how twirly the skirt is. I'm glad that I added in more volume to it. The biggest mistake I think I made was on the mock-up, I didn't actually sew in cups. So I didn't realize how much cups would screw up the final design, if that makes sense. So I did have to add like elastic straps onto this to kind of help it stay up because they just altered the way it sat a lot, even though it fit perfectly in the mock-up. So lessons were learned. I'll make it properly next time, but I think it's super cute and I'm about to go have a very fun evening in this, eat some appetizers and get to know some cool people. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned. I am working on a cosplay project right now and that should be the next video coming out next week. So I will see you guys then. Have a lovely rest of your week. Bye!